Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by yours truly, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 349. There's some shop talk, talking shopping that talk. If you like what you're hearing, please feel free to follow me on my Instagram and Twitter, both at Casting for Two, or however you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, or the website. Feel free to leave me a little review. More interaction is always good. So I would soups appreciate that. And yeah, this month is going to be a little hectic because I got a lot of episodes that need to come out. So hopefully, I might be doing 2 a month starting next week. We will see. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired. So break sounds nice, but you know what? I will move forward because I need to get those episodes out. And so I should talk about my guest today. My guest is a fantastic singer, songwriter, musician, Ballie, and he is in a band called Pampa, 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 and he has a new album out now called La Contumacia. I hope I said that right. But he is from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and also lives in Seattle, Washington. So he combined two styles of music into one, and it's a great album. Everybody, go out, pick it up, listen to it on Spotify and all that. But I need to get in this episode, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. It's a nice northwest day. It's fresh, clean air, kind of a little bit overcast. That's beautiful.
Those are always my favorite kind of days.
Yeah. We spent. I spent a week out in the peninsula, and it was so nice to. Everybody was complaining about the overcast, but you could see the kind of like clouds filtering to the mountains and the fog, and it was so awesome.
That it's so because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in Oregon, and as much as people complain about, it's always raining, yeah, but it's gone in 5-15 minutes, and then nice weather happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And plus there's something nice because I live in Texas right now. And the ability to leave the window open and have nice weather come in is total. It's nice.
Well, and even just like it was in the when you're in the rainforest, the 70 degrees are not just from the wind, but also from the water in the air.
Yeah.
So that's every time I get off the plane when I get here and you get that fresh air. That's the first thing that you recognize as the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so how long are you how long have you lived in Seattle your whole life, or are you a transplant?
I'm a transplant. Yeah. I moved to the States in late 95.
Mm-hmm.
I got accepted in a college in North Carolina, like a small town.
Mm.
And I was there for about 2 years. And then it was great, first American experience. It was a little bit too crazy coming from Argentina.
That's right.
And then I was in a band with somebody that was graduating from the college that I was going to, and they had an opportunity to move to Seattle, and that's how I ended up here.
Okay. What now? I mean, you said it was crazy. Was it a huge difference going from Argentina to South Carolina? Like, was that way too much of a culture shock for you?
I think it was both a good thing and a bad thing. It was a crazy thing because it was a culture shock. It was like, whoa, what is this? And it was a good way to kind of like land in the States. I remember when I was there was this old lady that used to make like Thanksgiving meals and holiday meals for international students that couldn't go home.
Okay.
And I became friends with her husband. It was like this older dude, and we would play guitar and banjo on the porch, and he would show me all the tunes and grab my guitar, return and give it back to me. It was like a good experience in that sense.
Okay. Yeah, it's no, go on.
Oh, I'm being the South too, like which feels a little bit like old. I guess you could say oldie America.
Right. Yeah, because it's funny to. I mean, I'm more used to the Pacific Northwest and Texas ways and stuff like that, but I could absolutely see how coming from a different place and going to a place in the South where things are a bit more traditional and traditional values might be a little overwhelming, but at least you found some good people to stick with.
Yeah, and the culture, like the underlying, I think the underlying thing of immigration, like after a long time, because I've been here more than 20 years, it's just what attracts you from a place is the culture. I learned a lot from that old man grabbing my guitar and retuning it and passing me the banjo, saying, "This is an old tune from back when I was a kid," and just like you find that everywhere.
Nice. And so when did you catch the music bug? Did you have it before coming over?
Yeah. I was a kid, and I found my dad's guitar in the attic. And I remember I was, when you're a teenager and you want to like start doing cool things and you start going through your dad's tapes. And I remember grabbing the guitar and just strumming it open, and like just no chord, just strumming it. And I was like, whoa, I had an epiphany. And then I found his book of chords and had like, 5, 6 chords. And I arranged them in a way that they made sense to me. I was like, huh. I was like probably like 10 years old, something like that. 11.
Wow.
I was pretty young, and I kind of was like, okay, this is it.
Okay, nice. I think it's fun because for sure, I mean, you can argue about coolest instruments out there, but I mean, for sure, the guitar has to be, especially when you're a kid, one of the coolest instruments that you could play. I remember when I was getting into music, the school offered a guitar class and a general like band class. And as much as I wanted to do the guitar class, everybody in my family did band. But I would always see those guitar kids walking around with their cases, and I'm just like, dang it, they're so cool.
Yep. Yeah. No, and then most of the people that you see playing, like, I think I started officially like taking lessons when I saw, who was it? Eric Clapton. It was like Eric Clapton or something like that. And I remember the photo that she was like standing next to, like with his sunglasses and his Stratocaster, and it was like looking like Don Johnson or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you, I don't know. Drummers can look, because now I've played drums for, let's see, almost 17 years. And as cool as I find drums are, they're not very portable. So if you do like a band photo, it's just the drummer holding his sticks, and that's, that's all right, I guess. I don't know.
He's holding the sticks. He must be the drummer.
Yeah. Or he just plays the cowbell. Who knows?
Well, you always need more of that.
Exactly. But and so when did you say? Well, first, what did you go to school for? I'm not sure.
Music.
Music. Oh, okay. So you already decided like this is what you wanted to pursue when you were a young person.
Yeah, I did go to, like, when I was in Argentina. Yeah, I did the thing. Well, how am I gonna make a living on this? And I went into advertising school, and I worked in an ad agency for a year or two, and then you can't really, you can't. You got to be honest with yourself. So I was like, yeah, music is my thing.
and so when was the moment when you said, you know what, I want to pursue this, I want to start a band, I want to become a full-fledged musician and perform?
I think it was when I had to tell my mom that I was gonna quit my job and leave school to look for a music school and become a musician. Now, I mean, I think it was more really, like, you become a musician when you, like, fail and keep on going, like, so many times you, like, do something and maybe you feel like you didn't achieve what you wanted to, and you're like, screw this, I'm hanging it up, I'm done.
Right.
And then you come back and you do it again, and then maybe you don't succeed, whatever that means, again, and you go and you do it again because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that realization, I guess, it's more, that's for me, when I realized that this is what I do.
Okay. And so when do you form the band that you're in right now?
This band started when I started just doing my other band, kind of like just disbanded, and then I started doing things on my own and doing demos for a year or two, and then I started meeting people. It's been a process. I met the drummer, then we had a bass player, then he left, then we were a two-piece, then we added a baritone guitar player, then he left, then we added a bass player, another guitar player, bass player left, now the bass player came in, now the drummer is leaving, and it's just, it's a bit of a ongoing, organic, growing thing.
Mm-hmm. And did it take you a long time to find the particular style that you do, especially with, revolving members?
No, I remember when I the first one that I met was the drummer, and I was kind of like, my previous band was a little bit more on the harder kind of proggy end of things, and I knew I wanted to do something a little bit more related to Americana, like folk, like roots here, and Motownish. And I remember when I first met Steve, the drummer, he was wearing this hat. It was like a Motown, the label on the records.
Yeah.
And it was a hat that had that Motown label on the freaking hat. And I was like, this guy's totally gonna get it. He did. And then just getting folks that were kind of you could tell that we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And like, keyboard player and the other guitar player, we've been playing together for like 4 years now, so 3 years. So that is pretty strong.
Okay. And do you think that the location you're in has influenced your music?
Like the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of, I think it's helped me see a lot of, understand a lot of the Pacific Northwest itself and become a little bit from here too, just like different accents, different aspects of folks as compared to, say, North Carolina where I was at, There's just different flavors of the same thing, and just being able to actually see that flavor or, recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of being here and living,
Yeah.
I mean, I live in this house with a guy from the Moondoggies too. So those guys to me are like one of the biggest, like the truest Seattle sounds in many ways.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've interviewed a lot of bands from Seattle, and there's always a particular sound that I think is very unique to Seattle, and I get Pacific Northwest in general. But yeah, it's always nice to hear for sure.
Yeah, it's and it has to do a lot with the personality, not just of the city, but like say if you go out into the peninsula away from Seattle, or if you go say to Everett or any place, it has that. Even if you go down to Portland and Oregon, it has that same kind of energy.
No, yeah, no, I absolutely agree. As far as so you have a new album coming out.
Yep.
It's going to be in October. Was there one particular song on the album that took a little bit more time to work on, whether it was the music or the lyrics just wasn't, I don't want to say gelling, but, wasn't coming together?
Let me think about this. There was one song that I wrote probably 8 years ago, like a long time ago, and when I brought it to the band, I was like, hey, I've had this band and I've tried it like endlessly. It's a good tune, but I don't know. And we took it and really did an arrangement and made a song that's something that I myself had a lot of challenge working with. Just besides that, the rest of the stuff, it was very like it wasn't the record wasn't set to be a certain way. It was like we recorded the songs and then we were like, okay, let's listen to it. Okay, what do we want to add? What about this? Okay, let's do this. And then when a lot of the arrangements were, we had the musicians in the studio and we were like, okay, let's try this, let's try that. It was very much not really expecting something, rather just creating something. And yeah, that's part of why we're a good band. We work really good together.
I mean that's always a nice thing when everybody works together and likes each other.
Yeah.
And for the people at home who want to pick up the album, follow you guys online, where can they do all that?
Well, we have, if you look up in Spotify, we have currently 2 songs of the new record up. One is, they're both in Spanish, una de cal y una de arena, and the other one is called Maniobrando con la llama. And we have an Instagram. You can look at us as Pampa Band or Pampa_band. We have a Facebook account. And we have a few shows coming up. A tour, record release is going to be October 11th, and we are pressing vinyl.
Okay.
So
okay.
that should be available on our online store too.
Nice. Moon, thank you so much for chatting with me. When I've heard the first single on the track, first single of the album, I was just, I would love to chat with him about the music, because I just think it's phenomenal, and it's definitely different than what I normally listen to, so I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, it's really been a pleasure talking to you. Like, it's really, I really feel lucky and at home in the Pacific Northwest. And I think releasing this record with the sound that we have, which is the Pacific Northwest, but with a lot of Spanish elements in it too, it's important, because the great thing about the Pacific Northwest is there's lots of doors to be opened, and now's the time.
Right, exactly. There's nothing wrong with mixing, what you know back home with Pacific Northwest. We're all a melting pot after all.
Exactly.
But I will let you go and enjoy the rest of the beautiful weather, and whenever you want to come back, just say the word. All right.
Oh, I definitely would love to talk to you anytime. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my, absolutely, absolutely. But again, you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.